warm welcome and a thank you for joining us on ERi-TV English News Broadcast viewers. It's now exactly 10:30 p.m. Asmara time and we are ready for a domestic and international report for June 8, 2026. Reporting live from our headquarters in Asmara and inviting you to stay with us is Heavenly Ones, your news anchor for this session. Let's begin with the top stories. Warm welcome accorded to President Isaias Afwerki in Egypt. Haggaz Agricultural and Technical School graduates 126 students. E3 leaders support direct Ukraine-Russia dialogue and call for ceasefire. And the European Union approves sanctions on Iranian targets. Welcome again. In today's domestic news, President Isaias Afwerki and his host, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, held extensive talks in Cairo today on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual importance. The two leaders agreed to deepen and elevate the historical and brotherly ties of friendship and cooperation that exist between the two countries to a higher level. In this respect, President Isaias Afwerki and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi agreed on the launching of concrete programs in the sectors of marine resources, development of port infrastructure and maritime transport within the overall economic, political and diplomatic frameworks and agreements reached in the past. The two leaders also discussed in greater detail the economic, political, diplomatic and security dimensions of developments and trends in the Red Sea, the Middle East, the Horn of Africa and other international matters of mutual interest. The meeting was attended by Mr. Osman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Mr. Aman Abdelwasi, Charge d'Affaires at the Eritrean Embassy in Egypt, as well as Dr. Badil Abdelati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt. Foreign Minister Osman Saleh and his Egyptian counterpart, Dr. Badil Abdelati, subsequently discussed the implementation details of the agendas outlined in the extensive consultations between the two heads of state. In another news, Haggaz Agricultural and Technical School has graduated 126 students, including 45 female students in certificate program. The graduates were provided 2 years of theoretical and practical education. At the graduation event on June 6th, Mr. Melaka Burhana, Director of Haggaz Agricultural and Technical School, said that 34 students graduated in animal science, 34 in plant science, 23 in agromechanics, and 35 in soil and water conservation and irrigation farming. Mr. Melaka also called on the graduates to play their due part in transforming the traditional farming system into a modern and technology-based one in their places of assignment, using the knowledge they have gained. Congratulating the graduates, Mr. Tasfai Suyum, Director General of Technical and Vocational Education at the Ministry of Education, called on the graduates to develop their knowledge through continuous work and research and contribute their part to the National Development Program. A representative of the graduates on his part expressed conviction to practically repay the people and government who provided them with free educational opportunity and commended the school for the effort exerted to enable them to become disciplined and self-confident. Mr. Idris Mohammed Hamid, administrator of Haggaz Subzone, on his part, called on the graduates to live up to the expectations of the people and government who provided them with the educational opportunity and contribute their part to the development of the agricultural sector in the country. Haggaz Agricultural and Technical School, established in 1999, has so far graduated 3,060 students, including 1,141 female students. Do stay tuned, dear viewers, for we'll be back with the international news after the short break. Welcome back. In our international report, the leaders of Britain, France and Germany, collectively known as the E3, voiced to support for direct dialogue between Ukraine and Russia, aimed at achieving a ceasefire and advancing peace negotiations, following talks with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz issued a joint statement with Zelensky after the meeting, saying they backed direct Ukraine-Russia talks with the active participation of the United States and Europe. The four leaders called for an immediate and complete ceasefire, saying the current line of contact should serve as the starting point for negotiations. According to their statement, Europe should play an important role in the peace process, with relevant efforts conducted in close coordination with Ukraine, European partners and the United States. The leaders also discussed post-ceasefire security arrangements for Ukraine. The statement said European security interests should be safeguarded in any agreement and noted that matters relating to the European Union and NATO would require the consent of their respective members. Moving on, the European Union approved sanctions against Iranian individuals and entities over allegations of disrupting maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said today. The Foreign Policy Chief made the announcement at a press conference following an informal meeting of EU defense ministers in Cyprus. She said freedom of navigation is facing increasing pressure globally, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz, where Iranian actions and drone activity have allegedly posed risks to commercial shipping. EU ministers considered such actions unacceptable, she added. According to the Foreign Policy Chief, the decision marks the first time the EU has activated its new sanctions regime aimed at safeguarding freedom of navigation. She said the bloc would not hesitate to use the mechanism again if necessary. With this, we conclude our domestic and international report for this session, dear viewers. Now the top stories once more. Warm welcome accorded to President Isaias Afwerki in Egypt. Haggaz Agricultural and Technical School graduates 126 students. In our international, E3 leaders support direct Ukraine-Russia dialogue and call for ceasefire. And the European Union approves sanctions on Iranian targets. This was The World on Monday with ERi-TV English News Broadcast viewers. From all of us here, thank you for watching. Join us again on our tomorrow's broadcast. Until then, stay well.